What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown for UFC 263. We have Israel Adesanya going against Marvin Vettori, and I have quite a bit of action we're going to talk about and talking about the best bets for each fight on the card. As always, going to be talking about betting and betting only. Not going to get into much detail, but if you do want a further breakdown and analysis of each fight, I did post a full card breakdown and prediction video on Tuesday, and I did a live stream on Friday evening as well, so go check that out if you have not yet. Going to be going live for the fights 1 hour prior to when the prelims start, which is going to be 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, so check that out. Going over my final bets. Maybe I had a bet, maybe I don't. Some DFS stuff as well, and just talking it up, getting ready for the fights at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. So before we get started, if you guys can leave a like on the video, one small like goes a long way. Do appreciate all the support week in and week out. And also subscribe if you have not yet. Trying to keep growing the channel. We just hit 11K last week. Hopefully keep growing it. And it's all thanks to you guys. So with all that out of the way, we will start the card with a fight that I'm not looking forward to that much. I mean, you know, we have a phenomenal card, but there's some fights on here that I really don't care all that much about. Felipe going against Jake Collier. I know a lot of people are on the Jake Collier side, and I get it, at least early, especially opening up at plus 245 in Collier. Yeah, I mean, this fight should play out somewhat close. Now that it's at plus 150, I would definitely recommend passing. Some props that do stick out, though, is going to be the fight goes the distance, which is, I think, like, you know, near plus money. I'm not going to play it myself, but I think that's probably a good look there. Both guys are, you know, very durable to an extent. At least on the Felipe side, Felipe is very, very durable. On the Collier side, you know, he has been knocked out 3 times, has been knocked out once at heavyweight, so I kind of question his durability, but Felipe has not shown much power thus far in the UFC with the 0 finishes thus far. But that's the only thing I would worry about would be a Felipe knockout, which is plus 335. I think if somebody's getting finished in this fight, it's going to be Collier getting finished. As far as a pick, I will take Felipe. I actually kind of like some of the stuff he does bring to the table. He has, you know, good cardio as far as heavyweights go. He has good output as far as heavyweights go. He's going to have, you know, probably the output and the card advantage in this fight, but it should play out somewhat close. And yeah, if anything, like, the fight goes to decision, the over are good looks. And if you do think that Felipe could knock him out, plus 335. At the end of the day, like, these are heavyweights. At the end of the day, Collier has been knocked out 3 times. So would it shock me if Felipe knocked him out? You know, not really. So that's one that kind of caught my eye a little bit. But ultimately, this is an easy pass for me. I'm passing 100%. Like I said, if you got Collier early in the week, last week when he was plus 200 and above, yeah, shout out to you. I think that's a good line. It's just at this point, I do recommend passing on this fight. There's so many great spots on the card. I would not recommend betting this one. Like, I honestly would never bet this fight in a million years. But that's just me. So getting to the next fight, we have Luigi Vendramini going against Fares Ziam, and this is the fight that I taped a couple weeks ago. I was very interested in potentially taking the shot on Vendramini. After getting done with the tape, I decided to pass. I think this is a close fight. I do think it should be lined 50-50. You know, I think Vendramini is going to have a massive advantage on the mat if it does get there, and I kind of lean it does get there. Ziam has been taken down 8 times thus far in the UFC. That's in 2 fights. He's been controlled for over 15 minutes in 2 fights as well. Like, you know, what's stopping Vendramini from getting this fight down to the mat and getting a submission, you know? But a lot of people are on the Ziam side. I don't really understand why. I think it's a really close fight. It's hard to have a strong lean either way. I'm going to go with Vendramini for the grappling upside, the takedown upside, but I do have some concerns if this does get later in the fight. Vendramini has never been to decision, which makes the under in the fight doesn't go to decision kind of an interesting spot. The under 2.5 is sitting at minus 120. I honestly don't hate that. But a prop that really stuck out to me on FanDuel Sportsbook, and I think they still have it out there. I think they do. It's been there all week. But yeah, Vendramini by submission, plus 950. That line is extremely off. Ziam has been finished by submission in 2 of his 3 losses. Vendramini, a legit black belt. He's been a black belt since he was a little kid. So yeah. Or he's been grappling since he was a little kid. I'm not sure when he got his black belt, but it was maybe early teens he got his black belt. So he's been grappling forever. He's been a black belt for a while now. So, I mean, yeah, Vendramini by submission, plus 950. I really don't hate that. So I have 0.25 units on it by submission. And, yeah, a little shot there. I'm honestly tempted to putting a little bit more on that line if it's still there. I'll have to check. But, yeah, plus 950. Vendramini by decision. I think if he does win, probably by submission. So give me that plus 950. I'll take a small quarter unit stab on it, and I will pick him to win ultimately. Steven Peterson, Chase Hooper. Steven Peterson did miss weight by, I think, 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds, something like that. He looked great on the scales. It looked like he did not try to kill himself to make that extra weight, which I do like. And I do like that he's coming in here with a weight advantage. And it does seem fitting for this fight here. So I don't know if he did it on purpose, but I do think the extra weight is going to help him out here in a fight that Hooper is going to want to get this down to the mat. Hooper, not the best, wrestling, 7% takedown accuracy. Peterson, very good takedown defense, 75%. Also has a very good get-up game. Hooper, not the best striking, defense. Peterson's going to have a pretty significant striking advantage. Although he's not the best striker himself, I do give the striking advantage quite a bit to the Steven Peterson side. So what it comes down to for me is, I'm kind of shocked at where the line's at, to be honest. They opened it up minus 150 on some books, minus 170. I kind of agree that line opener a little bit more than the line's at right now. And I did bet Steven Peterson a couple weeks ago, minus 124, 1.25 units on it. He did get as low as like minus 110. I really wasn't expecting the line to go that way, but doesn't really surprise me because people really do like Hooper. There's a lot of hype behind him. But man, Peterson should really win this fight. Like Chase Hooper, what's his path to victory? Pulling guard, heel hook, potentially. It's hard to see Chase Hooper, getting this fight down to the mat with his wrestling. That's non-existent. And he's not going to outstrike Steven Peterson, you wouldn't think. So how does Hooper win this fight outside of him getting beat up for 2.5 rounds and pulling guard and getting a heel hook, which I don't think it's going to be as easy to do on a brown belt and Steven Peterson as it was to slippery Pete Barrett, who has been submitted, a handful of times prior to that fight. So I like Steven Peterson here. He's going to be my only straight bet of the night. Minus 124, 1.25 units on it. Kind of botched the line a little bit, but that's fine. You see him at minus 120 now, minus 125. I think the line is fair. I think it could be even wider, and ultimately did take a little shot on Steven Peterson there. Matt Frivola, Terrence McKinney. I do have a couple plays here. I'll kind of knock this one out right here. So I have a violence parlay. It's a 1 unit plus 155. I have Matt Frivola, Terrence McKinney. Fight doesn't go to decision, minus 205. Parlayed with Figareto and Brandon Moreno. Fight doesn't go to decision, minus 240. Ultimately being plus 155, 1 unit on that. So a little bit of a violence parlay there. I'll talk more about the Figareto-Moreno fight when we get there, but I really do think this fight finishes, and that's why I did also play straight. The fight doesn't go to decision line. I got minus 150, 1.5 units on it there. You now see a lot of money coming in on that fight doesn't go to decision. It's like minus 200 now, which I think is still very good. And then also the under 2.5 is at minus 170, which I think is very good. So I do think this fight finishes. Some things we got to point out. McKinney coming in on short notice, but he did fight, I think, like last week or 2 weeks ago, but still short notice nonetheless. And this is a guy that, the gas tank is an issue. We've seen him slow down. We've seen him get finished. Sean Woodson comes to mind. We've seen him go to the third round one time in his career. One time in his career he's been to the third round. 2 times in his career he's been to the second round. And in that third round fight, I think it finished with in the first minute. So this is a guy that's never seen that over 2.5 in his career. He's one of those killer be-killed fighters, and especially considering it's on short notice, you got to think he's coming in here with the mindset of, I got to get Frivola out of there in that first round. And if he doesn't, I do think Frivola can definitely finish him in the second and the third. But yeah, I think this fight finishes. I would not touch the Frivola minus 205. And we see some money come in on McKinney. I wouldn't be shocked at all if McKinney did get this done inside the distance early. Frivola's been knocked down a handful of times in the UFC. He's been knocked out by Marco Polo Reyes. McKinney, I think he's good. I think he's skilled. It's just if he does not get it done early, I do have some concerns. As far as a pick, I'll take Frivola, but I really do like the under. I really do like the fight doesn't go to decision. And I have 2 bets on the fight doesn't go to decision there. 1 in a parlay, and then 1 straight. Panda Kansas, Alexis Davis. I'll keep it short here. A fight I really don't care about too much, to be honest. I'm going to pick Alexis Davis. The problem I have with Davis and why I'm not betting her, especially as an underdog here, which is intriguing to me, is she's inconsistent with going for takedown. She averages about a takedown per 15 minutes. I'd like to see her attempt more, especially in this fight, but I can just see a scenario where I take a shot on Davis at plus 180. I'm yelling at the TV, Alexis Davis, go for takedowns. I just don't want to put myself through that. Because we see it time and time again where Davis has a lot of success. She has a lot of success taking the fight down to the mat. But there are other rounds where she strikes with her opponent. I can kind of see that happening. So do I really want to get involved with this fight? I do not. I would not bet this fight. I would definitely not recommend laying minus 200 on Kianzad. I'll pick Davis, but I'm not betting her. If you told me that Davis was going to come out here and shoot 5, 6, 7 takedowns, insta bet on Davis. It's just I don't know if she's going to do that. So pass here for me. Dog or pass. Davis by decision plus 365. Davis by submission is plus 685. Kansas has been submitted twice. Alexis Davis, legit black belt. But yeah, I can't bet on this fight, man. Next, we have Movsar Evloev going against Hakeem Dawodu. And yeah, I like Evloev here. Hakeem seems to be one of the public dogs of the week. I mean, I get it. It should be somewhat of a close fight. You got to favor the striking of Hakeem, but Evloev's striking is not bad himself, and then you got to factor in the wrestling of Movsar Evloev as well. I do think he's going to mix in the takedowns, get some control time. It should be a fairly close fight, but ultimately I'll take Evloev to, get the better of the grappling exchanges, mixing in the takedowns. I think the striking is going to be somewhat competitive, and I think he wins a close decision here. Minus 110 by decision is not a bad way to go. It's better than the minus 220. If you're into, parlaying props, I think the fight goes the distance could be a decent way to look. Both guys not finishers. Both guys have only been finished a combined one time, and that was Hakeem getting submitted. Evloev submission plus 545. Not much meat on the bone for me. So passing here, picks Evloev, and I'm really looking forward to this fight. Two great fighters, two great prospects. All right, Joanne Calderwood, Lauren Murphy. What it comes down to for me is going to be the volume of Joanne Calderwood. She lands nearly 7 significant strikes per minute compared to Murphy, about half that. So we see it as of late, especially this past year and a half. The judges are favoring the strikes, the damage. And Joanne Calderwood, I can almost assure you that she's going to outland Murphy. I'd be shocked if she didn't. And at that point, maybe Murphy does take down Calderwood, once or twice, lays on her, does nothing with it. But Calderwood on the feet is going to have a pretty good advantage, in my opinion, and especially with the volume of Calderwood. I do think she outlands her by a decent margin. I think the judges are favoring that striking, and I do think Joanne Calderwood does get the nod there. I was tempted on playing it straight, minus 140, minus 150. It's not horrible, but I do like the decision prop, and that's what I took a shot on. I took the shot on Calderwood wins by decision, plus 125, 1 unit on it. I'd be shocked if there was a finish in this fight. Calderwood's never been knocked out. Murphy's never been knocked out or submitted. Calderwood's been submitted 3 times. Maybe Murphy's submission plus 950, but even then Murphy, I think, has 1 submission on her record. So the picks Calderwood, the volume's huge. The striking advantage is huge, and I think she's just overall the better fighter. So I'm taking Calderwood to win by decision. I don't love the minus 150. I'd rather play the decision prop. Eric Anders, Darren Stewart. Yeah, not going to go deep into this. We, already saw this one play out. I just think it might be a potential trap. This fight is at 205. Last fight was at 185. And Eric Anders tends to, be inconsistent at times. I can't trust the guy personally with my money, but, you've got to kind of pick him here because we did see the fight play out, just a few months ago. But yeah, minus 145. I honestly don't know one person that's picking Darren Stewart. So to see this line this close is a little bit sketchy to me, but I'll pick him to win. I'll pick him to hold Stewart against the cage, get takedowns. The striking is going to be somewhat competitive, but yeah, I don't want to bet this fight. But I will pick Anders. Anders by decision plus 230. Don't hate it. Stewart, very, very tough. Only been knocked out once. But I will take Anders for the win. I'm not betting it, though. Drew Dober, Brad Riddell. Yeah, dog or pass for me on this one. I think it's a very close, competitive fight. I don't know what's going to happen, but what I do know is it's going to be very exciting. If Brad Riddell becomes like a bigger underdog by fight time, maybe like plus 140, plus 150, then I might take a shot there. But as of now, I'm going to pass. I do see it being a fairly competitive fight. As far as a pick, I'll go with Brad Riddell, but no real confidence there for me enough to make a bet. Don't really even want to look at the props. Both guys are very durable. Dober's been knocked out once. Brad Riddell never been knocked out. Fight goes to decision is like minus 110, minus 120, I think, which is not horrible. But yeah, this fight's going to be fun. It's going to be an all-out war, and I'm really looking forward to watch it. But as far as a betting perspective, I'll have to pass there. All right, here's the big one. So Jamal Hill, Paul Craig, and this is going to be my biggest bet of the year. Last week, my biggest bet of the year was Mason Jones. I think I had 3.5 units on him. That didn't quite work out. Almost did, but didn't quite work out. Shout out to Alon Patrick there. But yeah, I have 5 units on fight doesn't go decision, minus 235. FanDuel Sportsbook put that out there earlier in the week, and that line was there like all week up until Friday night, I do believe. So yeah, that line's got smashed, but even on other books, like the fight doesn't go decisions, minus 275, minus 270. And yeah, I do like that quite a bit. So yeah, the old max bet here, I don't do them often. I did 2 last year. This is going to be my first one this year. Might even be my only one. I don't know. But 5 units on the fight to end inside the distance, which is, it's scary, I guess. But, man, you take a look at it, and I'd be shocked if this fight went to decision. Paul Craig, in all his fights, he's been to decision one time, and that was against the 50-year-old Shogun in a fight where Craig was so close to getting him out there in that first round, and then Shogun, almost finished Craig, I do believe, in that second round as well. And what I like about Jamal Hill is he has great cardio, has great output, and it's the striker versus grappler. Either Paul Craig gets his fight down to the mat, finds a submission, or Jamal Hill stuffs those takedowns and destroys Craig on the feet. I'm more so leaning towards Hill destroying Craig on the feet, ultimately getting a finish probably in that first round. But ultimately, I just need this fight to finish. I don't care who wins. I don't care if Craig subs him. I know Hill's everybody's favorite parlay piece this week. I wouldn't recommend parlaying Hill, but I will pick him to win. So 5 units on the fight doesn't go to decision, minus 235. And then I also have fight does not start round 3, plus 112, 1 unit on that. Another good line that I do like, that was also on FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm not sure what it is now, like maybe minus 120, but I do think like the under 1.5 is a good look. Under 1.5, plus 100 on some books, that's solid. The fight does not start round 3. I think it's solid. The alternative, under 2.5, I think it's solid. Ultimately, I think this fight finishes. Like, I'd be shocked, especially seeing, there's a crowd. We've seen a lot more finishes with the crowd. I don't know what it is, but we are seeing it. And then also factoring in that these guys hate each other. They've been getting in each other's face all week. Exchanges on Twitter. Jamal Hill is predicting, I think it's like a first round, second round knockout. Paul Craig's predicting a second round submission. Both guys saying this isn't going the distance, and I tend to believe him here. Paul Craig, 3 first round knockouts, losses. And Paul Craig has never lost by decision. Paul Craig has never won by decision. It all adds up, man. I mean, hopefully it hits. I like the spot. I like the line I got it at, honestly. Like, I think this fight finishes like 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10 times. So yeah, wish me luck. Wish me luck there. Good luck to everybody that's parlaying Jamal Hill. I wish you luck there as well. I personally wouldn't do that, but I am picking him to win. Jamal Hill by first round knockout could be something to look at if you are on the Craig side. Maybe Craig first round subs probably a crazy number. Craig second round subs probably a crazy number. But this is Paul Craig, who's live for the whole fight. All 15 minutes, this guy's going to be live. If the fight hits the mat, he's live. So I'll take Jamal Hill though. Bilal Muhammad, Damian Maia. Yeah, I'm going to go with Muhammad. I don't feel great about it. I'm just going to go with the younger fighter here. Maia's 43 years old, about to be 44. I don't love that. I feel like the first round could be a little bit iffy if Muhammad does get taken down. But Muhammad on paper does have a good takedown defense. It's just he has not fought that many people that are going to try to take him down. You look through his record, and it's mostly strikers. I mean, he fought a Chance Rencounter comes to mind as of like a kind of recent fight where he did face somebody that's going to take him down. But even then, like, I don't know, just not enough footage out there on, people trying to take Muhammad down, Muhammad on his back. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of sketchy, especially early. I know some people taking a shot on Maia. I don't hate it. I'd probably bet him if he was like 41 or 40. But now that he's 43, he got knocked out by Burns. I just don't want to put my money on him. But yeah, it's I guess from a betting perspective, it's dog or pass. But I don't want to bet on Damian Maia at this point in his career. I think someone said it's his retirement fight as well. So even then, I don't love it there. But I will pick Muhammad to win just by being younger, having the better gas tank, having the better striking, stuffing the takedowns, and winning a decision. Muhammad by decision plus 105 is not terrible. But even the fight goes to decision minus 150. I know people are expecting Maia to get starched because he got knocked out by Burns, but Muhammad's definitely not a finisher. He's finished one fight by knockout in the UFC. He's obviously not submitting Maia, so the minus 150 fight goes the distance is a decent way to look, I'd say. Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz. So Edwards, I have him parlayed. I'll say it right now. I have him parlayed with Davis and Figareto. Minus 141, 1.5 units on it. I parlayed this up about a week and a half ago, got in on early. It was actually supposed to be Edwards-Hill that I was going to look to parlay, but after taping the Hill-Craig fight, I decided to pass on parlaying Hill. We ended up going with Figareto and Edwards instead. So, yeah, Edwards here, I do think he has, at this point of his career, advantages pretty much everywhere outside of maybe the pure jiu-jitsu. But even then, like, Edwards is a really grappler. I think he's going to have a massive advantage on the feet. I think he's going to be able to get takedowns. He's going to have a wrestling advantage. I think he can get takedowns, control time, and I think he knocks out Nate Diaz, maybe later the fight goes. I can see also like a cut stoppage as well. Diaz is getting cut open in a majority of his fights. And we saw the Jorge fight with Diaz where Diaz was getting hurt a couple times. I remember Jorge hurting him a good 2-3 times, and then ultimately that cut stoppage there. So I like Edwards. I think at their point in their careers right now, Edwards 29 years old, I do believe. Diaz 36 years old. I just think Edwards is a much better fighter, and that's why we do see him at minus 560, minus 600. I parlayed him at minus 450, which I do like. I think he wins. I think he wins by knockout. I did play the knockout prop. I have half a unit on him at plus 150. A lot of money's come in on that knockout prop throughout the week. I think it's now plus 100, which I don't know if I'd play it there, but I do have half a unit on the plus 150. I actually bet him to win by knockout on FanDuel Sportsbook at plus 240 earlier in the week. They voided that bet. They had the fight open for like a 3-round fight, which is weird. I mean, they probably should know that it's a 5-round fight, but either way, they voided it. So I did bet the plus 150, which I still do like half a unit on that. I think Edwards wins. I think he wins by a TKO. Maybe a cut stoppage would not shock me, but I do like Edwards. Deiveson Figareto versus Brandon Moreno. Yeah, a lot of people ran to the betting window after the weigh-in scare of Figareto, and I'll admit, like, he looked terrible. He looked awful. And I went back and watched previous weigh-ins of Figareto. That's the worst he's ever looked, man. He was shaky. It looked like he could barely walk. There were people that were, right next to him to make sure he didn't fall. I thought the fight was about to be called off with how bad he looked. But watch the ceremonial weigh-in a couple hours later. Man, this guy looks phenomenal. He filled out, rehydrated. He looks good. I mean, it's like the weigh-in scare didn't even happen. Like, he looked great. He looked great. He looked big. No problems. I mean, the only thing I'd say was he was wearing sunglasses, which a lot of people don't like. But man, Figareto looked good. So could that weight cut maybe take something out of him? Maybe, but all the concerns I had on the Figareto weigh-in, I mean, I threw him out the window. Like, I think he looked great. I think he wins this fight. Talked about it all week. There's some serious factors that we got to take into consideration. I think people are just blindly looking at it as a, hey, they went to a draw last time. Why is Brandon Moreno plus 200? But I think there's some key factors there that, Figareto was in the hospital the night before the fight with food poisoning, about not to fight. And then he shows up the next day, goes to a 5-round war with Moreno, thinking, man, in general, we think of Figgy as slowing down as the fight goes on, but he actually won that 5th round. Food poisoning. It went to the hospital, I believe, after the fight as well. And then we also got to remember that fight was on somewhat short notice, and Figgy had to cut weight 2 times within the span of like a couple weeks. That's huge as well. The guy cuts a ton of weight. But now he gets a nice full camp here. He gets time to prepare for Moreno, and he's really mad at the guy. He wants to kill Brandon Moreno, it seems like. I mean, he's predicting himself like a 1st-round finish, I do believe. And I know a lot of people are rooting for Moreno. Moreno's definitely a fan favorite. People hate Figgy, especially in the way he's been acting this week. He's kind of playing the bad guy. But I do like Figgy here. I think he's the better fighter. All respect to Moreno, especially making the fight close last time. I just think there's some things that we do got to take into consideration. But yeah, I do like Figareto to get it done. Figareto to get it done inside the distance. Moreno, he's never been knocked out, never been submitted. But if somebody's going to be the first one to do that, it's going to be Figareto. I think Figareto does get him out of there. Even if it does go to decision, like he's going to be landing the harder shots, the more eye-popping shots. I think he can win by decision. I think he can win by knockout. So I do also like the under where the fight doesn't go to decision. So like I said earlier, I parlayed McKinney, Frivola, fight doesn't go to decision, with Figareto, Moreno, fight doesn't go to decision at plus 155, 1 unit on it. Kind of my violence parlay. And this is going to be a war for as long as it lasts. Yes, I went to decision last time, but every fight is different. I think Figgy does get the finish this time. But if that weight cut did take something out of Figareto, maybe Moreno gets a late finish himself. So we'll have to see. I do think this fight finishes one way or another. And I do think Figgy does get his hand raised and hopefully moves up a weight class. Because, man, he did not look good on the scales. But like I said, he filled out. He looked phenomenal at the ceremonial weigh-ins. And, yeah, good news there. Good news there, especially for Figgy bettors like me. But, yeah, lots of people ran and bet on Moreno, which I don't blame them after seeing Figgy. But now we have Figareto like minus 190 on some books, which is kind of tempting me to add maybe a straight play on him. I don't know. I'm not going to yet. But if he gets down to like minus 180, minus 170, then I'm going to have to highly consider, playing Figareto straight. Israel Adesanya, Marvin Vettori. No bet here for me. I know people like betting on the main event. It's fun and all that, but I don't know. I feel a little bit iffy on it, especially the price tag of Adesanya. I'm going to pick him to win here. I just don't feel overly great about it. The wrong fighter's bolted there too as well. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm picking Otasanya to win ultimately. I was kind of thinking of like Otasanya by decision, plus 160, Otasanya round 4, Otasanya round 5, maybe doing that, but even then I just don't feel great about it. I feel like Vittori can steal a round or two. I just have concerns about the gas tank going forward into the rounds, 4, 5, if Vittori's gas tank does hold up, because I do think Otasanya's takedown defense is really good, 85%. Or 82%. I do think he has a solid get-up game, at least compared to like guys like Kevin Holland, Carl Roberson. I don't know. I think people are looking a little bit too much into the Jan Blachowicz fight, which Jan Blachowicz is going to be a lot bigger than Adesanya. And yes, he did get Adesanya down. He wasn't able to get up, but again, different weight class. I think Marvin Vettori is going to have some success. I just think when it's on the feet, it's Adesanya all day. It's really not even close for me. But Vettori does probably steal a round or two. And at that point, minus 240, I don't like it. But if I was to play it, it would probably be that Izzy decision, Izzy round 4, Izzy round 5, Marvin Vettori, very, very durable, never knocked out, never knocked down. Both guys never finished. This fight to go the distance, minus 120, minus 130. I don't hate that, but I'm just going to pass here. I'm fine with the plays I have. I feel like I really did pick my spots well this week, and I don't really feel like forcing something on the main event that I don't feel comfortable with, but I will pick Izzy for the win. Would not really recommend parlaying him, but I do think he gets the job done in a kind of a close decision. All right, so going over my bets real quick. I will be posting them on Twitter as well. Maybe I'll add something, maybe I don't. I don't think I'll add something, but maybe something that does stick out. Peterson, going against Super, minus 124, 1.25 units on it. My only straight bet of the night. My 2 parlays, Figareto parlay with Edwards, minus 141, 1.5 units on it. Figareto, Moreno, fight doesn't go to decision. Parlayed with Matt Rivoli, Terrence McKinney, fight doesn't go to decision, plus 155, 1 unit on it. My violence parlay there. Paul Craig, Jamal Hill, fight doesn't go to decision, minus 235, 5 unit on it. Max bet there. Wish me luck. And then fight does not start round 3 for Paul Craig, Jamal Hill, plus 112, 1 unit on it. Leon Edwards wins by TKO KO, plus 150, half a unit on it. Joanne Caldwell wins by decision, plus 125, 1 unit on it. Luigi Vandermini wins by submission, plus 950, 0.25 units on it. And then Matt Rivoli, Terrence McKinney, fight doesn't go to decision, minus 150, 1.5 units on it. So yeah, lots invested on this card. I'm feeling pretty good. Ultimately, I need the Paul Craig, Jamal Hill fight to finish. I don't care who wins. I don't care if Craig gets a triangle off his back. I don't care if Jamal Hill knocks him out. I need this fight to finish. So good luck on your guys' bets. If you're going the other way, good luck to you as well. I'll talk to you guys soon. Check out the live stream before the fights, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 1 hour prior to the prelims. And that's about it, guys. And good luck on all your action. Let's make some money.